Hello and welcome back to the Karma Stories podcast. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have two stories for you, both with updates from the Best of Redditor Update subreddit. The Karma Stories podcast is published to all major podcasting platforms, and you can also read along on YouTube under our @Karma Stories podcast handle. If you have a story you'd like to share with the podcast, you can do it by email at karmastoriespod@gmail.com. Alright, on to today's stories. Let's jump into the drama. This story with update comes to us from ThrowRA Necessary 22. My 31 female, husband 32 male, has been killing my houseplants with bleach. I have many houseplants and even some that were quite expensive and were gifts from my sister. Within the last 6 months, at least a third of my plants have died. I have had houseplants my whole life due to my late mother's own love of houseplants, and I know a lot about plants. The death of the plants didn't seem related to lack of light or inconsistent watering or lack of nutrients or even root rot. They just died very suddenly. I tried not to let it upset me too much because plants die, and it was not any of the expensive ones until now. My sister gave me a 5-leaf Monstera albo rooted plant for my birthday 2 months ago. It was beautiful. This morning, I was crying pretty hard about it as I unpotted it and took a look at the roots. And I was looking hard at this plant and the roots to see if its death was pest related. And that's when I noticed a smell. I sniffed my potting mix and I smelled bleach. The only other adult person in my home with unlimited and unobserved access to my plants is my husband. I wasn't able to talk to him for several hours, but when I could speak to him, I very calmly but very directly asked if he had done something to my plants. He denied it at first. I said I smelled bleach in the potting mix of the albo my sister had gotten me, and that the only person that could have put it in there was him, and he caved. He said he was putting small amounts of bleach into the fertilizer water jugs I prepare. I started crying. I asked him why. Why would you do this? You know I love these plants. Why would you destroy them? He didn't really answer, nor did he really apologize. The trust I had in him is absolutely gone. I think maybe counseling can help us, but he is the one that did this. But I'm the one that would have to set up the counseling. The angry part of me just wants to be done with the relationship. I know that might seem overboard, as we are married and share a child, but I feel now that I'm not safe around my husband. OP added a couple of edits onto this post. The first one says, "Edit, I thank everyone for giving advice. The townhome we live in is mine and my sister's, our inheritance from my mother. My husband has an office or den or gaming room that is his personal space, and there are no plants there. There are also no plants in the kitchen. I'm not a plant hoarder. Like, he has a room for himself. I also have a sunroom, and that is where the concentration of plants live. He has no reason to go in there. It's not access to our backyard or anything. I saw some people saying maybe he's sick of bugs, but I do not have a fungus gnat problem. I did see one person ask, why did I not smell the bleach when I was watering? And I can only say my nose wasn't all up in there maybe. I also usually use a natural systemic in my fertilizer water called SNS 209 that smells heavily of rosemary, but I ran out last month and haven't replaced yet. After our convo yesterday, I needed space. I spent the night in my daughter's room on a trundle bed. I'm going to text my husband today. He usually communicates easier and opens up more via text rather than face to face. I'm going to ask for a reason and I'll see what he says. OP's second edit says, Edit 2, sorry, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to update on a separate post. My husband won't be welcome in my home anymore, and I need to find a lawyer ASAP on Monday. I did text him, and he admitted again to putting bleach in my fertilizer water. He says it wasn't every jug I ever made, so that explains why it wasn't all my plants dying, but randomly over the past 6 months. His exact words were that I deserved to be knocked down a peg. After the text communication, I went home from work early and I entered his office. I usually respect his space absolutely. I don't even go in there to grab dirty dishes. I don't know what I was looking for, but the hundreds of comments saying he was working up to something worse or already was doing something else really worried me. I went in there and I found a drawer full of my daughter's dolls and dollhouse furniture and little toys. I bought her that dollhouse for her 4th birthday last year and she has loved it. She takes such good care of her toys, but something always ends up missing, and it's always my husband who notices. He lectures her about keeping track of her things and how he won't let her play with her dollhouse if she keeps losing things. He keeps going till she starts to sob. When I hear this going on, I always step in and ask him to go take a break. I assumed he was losing his cool. I've told him this is not how to deal with this with a kid, and he says he just wants her to grow up responsible. I now see it was some weird scheme, or setup, or something. He would steal the stuff and stash it away and point out it was gone to berate our daughter till she cried. My sister and her husband's dad came over this afternoon and they've changed the locks. I've texted him to tell him he isn't coming back and that he can come on Saturday morning to grab his essential things, but that my brother-in-law and another man would be there to watch. Sorry if this is unclear, if some things seem missing. This Reddit post isn't super my priority. I will probably not be updating again. Thank you to everyone who worried about my safety. Holy crap, OP. I thought this was just about the plants, but then it became about him being sadistic and making your daughter cry because he wants to. Getting back to the plants though, there's literally no reason to kill something that one of your loved ones cares for. He sounds absolutely dangerous. He's doing this just to hurt you, and you don't know if this is just a trial run or a dress rehearsal for something more sinister. Alright, even though OP said that was probably going to be their last post, they actually did update this post 7 days ago, so let's get into that now. The update is titled, Update, Husband 32 Male, Killing My 31 Female Houseplants with Bleach. How to move forward. Update. I recently got some messages asking for me to update and let the internet know I'm safe. My daughter and I are both safe. Without getting into too much detail, but to satiate the curious, my husband, the man I thought I knew, has changed so much that I think of it like him ripping off a mask. He's sworn at me, screamed at me, and pushed me to the ground twice and kicked me. Our entire marriage, I was never ever afraid of physical violence from this man. The police have been involved. Divorce is still in progress. After an initial period of intense anger, my husband seemingly stopped caring at all though. He said he doesn't want any custody, and he wants to give up his parental rights of our daughter. He doesn't see her. In the last month, I've heard he actually has a new girlfriend. His parents still talk to me. I was on good terms with his mom. Also, a friend of my husband's who has been friends with him since college reached out to me to ask what is going on. We texted. He says my husband has ghosted that entire group of friends he still had after someone in the group called him out for some sort of butthole-ish behavior. One positive thing that is also sad is that my daughter is bright and wonderful. There's been such a profound change to her behavior since her dad's been gone. She's happy and silly and joyful. I guess there's been a change in both her and my behavior. I think of it like the frog in the boiling pot. I was sitting there boiling to my death and never realized. We lived in a house of walking on eggshells. If my husband was upset, he would infect the house with hostility. I'm not sure I can describe it. I was constantly on guard and never able to relax. I was not afraid of physical violence though, so I don't want to describe it as something more serious than it was. Thank you all for making me realize I was in that boiling pot. This subreddit says I need to pose a question to post. What can I do for my daughter to let her know she's safe and always loved? I know I failed her whenever I heard her dad yelling at her about the dollhouse. I can say I tried to step in at all times when I heard it going on, but that doesn't seem enough. I feel so guilty. She's on a waiting list for therapy. Our structure is still the same. She looks like she's thriving, but I just don't know. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Ali2502. It says, "Thank you for updating. I'm so glad you're out of that marriage. I'm so glad your daughter is thriving. It's better to be raised by a single, happy, wonderful mom than having a miserable piece of crap of a father in her life. I know this whole thing is excruciatingly difficult, but you are doing great. Keep pushing forward, one day at a time, and maybe consider therapy for yourself. And from one plant lover to another, may you rebuild your green oasis soon. Another commenter down below called Redneck Debutante says, "It's important for our kids to see us apologize and know that we make mistakes too. You talk to her, let her ask any questions, and be as honest as is age appropriate. Never ever lie or try to be the bigger person. It's vital she be armed with the tools to spot manipulators and remain safe. Let her know she is safe and work to empower her. Your urge is going to be sheltering her. You need to balance that with letting her feel strong. Be her safety net." I completely agree with these commenters. There's a bunch of things that OP can be doing between now and when her daughter's able to get into therapy. First and foremost is creating a safe place for communication. She needs to know that it's okay to talk about her feelings and that no topic is off limits. If she's not ready to talk, or maybe she's too young to really express her feelings, get her a journal. Let her draw or write in that journal and get her thoughts and feelings out that way. It can be a really great way to process your feelings. Beyond that though, your daughter isn't the only one who needs that therapy. You need to be getting some of it too. You both have been through a traumatic experience, and having someone that you can talk to help you process your emotions and your feelings and your life going forward would definitely be beneficial. This story with update comes to us from Flaky Peace 3686. Will I be the butthole if I told my boyfriend that his friend wants to sleep with me before he gets married? Background: I'm a 25-year-old woman, and I have a 27-year-old uncle, Jimmy. When I was 19, I moved to a town for college where my uncle lives with our older uncle. Jimmy introduced me to his childhood friends, Chad and James, who were both in their senior year at university. We all became close, and they would often invite me out for fun. Over time, James expressed feelings for me and repeatedly asked me out over the next 2 years, but I consistently turned him down because I didn't feel the same way. Eventually, I met another one of their childhood friends, Carter, who was working in a different town. We hit it off, and after a year of staying in touch, we started dating. When Carter and I became official, I told James about it, and though he was initially upset, he eventually moved on and started dating someone else. Now, James is engaged and we're all thrilled for him. Carter even plans to help organize James's bachelor party. The issue: a few days ago while texting with James, out of nowhere, he told me I had hurt him by not reciprocating his feelings in the past. Then, shockingly, he said that before he gets married, he would like to do me. He knows I'm saving myself for marriage. He bragged about his prowess, but I declined, explaining that 1, he's getting married, 2, I'm dating his best friend Carter, 3, I don't have feelings for him. He changed the subject after that, but I stopped responding because I was disgusted. Now I'm torn about whether to tell my boyfriend Carter about this conversation. I feel that it could ruin their friendship and strain my uncle's relationships with them both, since they are all close. Will I be the butthole if I told my boyfriend about this? In the comment section for this one, OP was told overwhelmingly that they would not be the butthole if they were to tell their boyfriend and their uncle about this as well. OP updated their post and said, I told Carter about what happened and showed him the text. He was furious and couldn't believe that his best friend would do such a thing, but he was glad that I told him. Carter confronted James, who initially denied everything until he was shown the screenshots. It turns out James had deleted the messages from his phone. My uncle sent the screenshots to James's fiance, and she has decided to cancel the engagement and wedding. When she confronted James, he tried to deny it again. However, she told my uncle that she discovered he had been cheating on her after going through his phone. Apparently, James wants to have fun one last time before being tied down. As of now, we are all going no contact with James. Thank you everyone for your advice. OP, you did the exact right thing in this situation because If you didn't tell anybody and you just let it go, you never know what he would have been capable of. You do still need to remember that this guy is absolutely obsessed with you though, because he was willing to throw away his relationship by asking you to do this with him. That makes him sound pretty scary to me, and now all of his friends are turning their backs on him as well. You need to go get some kind of restraining order, or just make sure you're absolutely protected wherever you go. If you enjoy daily Reddit stories, I encourage you to follow and add us to the favorites on whichever podcasting platform you enjoy the most. And if you're watching and listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It really helps us out. I thank you for watching and listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.